Let me introduce you to TCA Raghavan, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. He'll help us understand, the nuclear saber rattling of Pakistan a little better. Now, Ambassador Raghavan, why does Pakistan continue to portray, the India-Pakistan dynamic as a nuclear flashpoint? What does this suggest about its strategic intentions compared to India's?
I think the reason is very clear. They wish to draw international attention to India-Pakistan disputes. And they find the most effective way of internationalizing India-Pakistan disputes is by portraying tense situations between the two countries as a nuclear flashpoint or a potential nuclear flashpoint. So to that extent, this kind of behavior is not something which we should be surprised by, because this is entirely predictable Pakistani tactics.
Ambassador Raghavan, but Pakistan has a first-use nuclear policy. Will the U.S. take, this nuclear saber-rattling more seriously now? After all, this has happened on the U.S. soil.
To my mind, most external powers are concerned about the potential for nuclear escalation in conflicts in South Asia and a potential escalation to the nuclear level. It's something which they often speak about, if not openly. Certainly, it's a concern which many of them share. In the United States, in recent months, we have seen President Trump also raising much the same concerns and then using that to justify his own actions, or in fact to project the steps he himself had taken. So I think it's something which we may not like or we may not agree with, but the fact is it has a certain resonance in the wider world when Pakistan raises this nuclear bogey, no matter how predictably and how frequently it does it.
Ambassador Raghavan, also, how has, the proliferation legacy of A.Q. Khan impacted Pakistan's rhetoric? It doesn't seem to be bothered. Does it sound like, that, to use Asif Munir's term, the dump truck is waiting to hit a Mercedes?
I think Pakistan has brazened out the nuclear proliferation phase of its history. It's something all other countries are aware of, but it's something which happened in the past, and a lot has changed since that time. So the history of Pakistan's proliferation and how, in fact, it developed its own nuclear technology through proliferation from other countries, all that is well established. But as I said, they have brazened out that phase of their history. And now the fact that they have nuclear weapons, that they are a nuclear weapon state, is well accepted. It's a reality which we have to live with.
And given Pakistan's support for terrorism, also how people of influence in Pakistan seem to have extreme ideologies, how real then is the threat of nuclear weapons falling into the hands of terrorists?
Well, I don't think that risk can ever entirely be excluded. But over the past decade and a half, especially since 2005, 2006, the Pakistan government has put in a lot of effort to reinforce the security of its nuclear program and of its nuclear weapons. Insofar as we can make out, and I underlined insofar as we can make out, it does appear that they have been able to convince many external players that nuclear weapons are safe and their command structure has a great deal of integrity and robustness. But given the volatile situation internally in Pakistan, given the fact that conditions there often verge towards very, very deep instability, it's a risk which can never entirely be downplayed or excluded.
Ambassador Raghavan, it's not just Asif Munir. There are others in the establishment who've been speaking like this. Let me just quote Pakistan's Minister Hanif Abbasi in April of this year. He talked about Pakistan's arsenal, including Ghori, Shaheen and Ghaznavi missiles, along with 130 nuclear warheads, having been kept only for India. Then there's Pakistan's ambassador to Russia in May of 2025. He said, "We in Pakistan will use the full spectrum of power, both conventional and nuclear." So this kind of rhetoric is not just, from the Pakistan's military establishment. It's coming in from diplomats, even other ministers. What do we expect here?
Well, I think it's a consistent part of Pakistan's policy that its nuclear weapons program is entirely India specific. So there is no secret about that, and in fact, the Pakistanis have never made a secret of that. They see their nuclear weapons program as India specific, to deter India, to contain, to protect themselves, or to put pressure on India. But it's not something which we should be surprised by. Secondly, the fact that they will consistently and frequently raise the nuclear bogey is again something which we should not be surprised by. You're quite right in saying that this is not just rhetoric which emerges from the Pakistan military. In fact, it emerges from all quarters in Pakistan, including from their other officials, the political class, from the foreign ministry, and so on. And it is entirely, in Pakistani terms, it's something which they see as consistent. They see India-Pakistan tensions as having a potentially nuclear having a nuclear escalatory potential, and that is something which tactically suits them because it enables them to engage the interest of the world community that much more effectively.
Ambassador Raghavan, a final question. Asif Munir, of course, he's a self-styled field marshal, but he's contributing to South Asia's instability. As a military leader, he's going to other countries and, being accepted and all that. But it seems that Pakistan's true colors seem to emerge when they feel that they have support from the United States. Is this something that we are noticing recently in these frequently misplaced comments?
I think the Pakistan-US relationship went through a long downturn from 2011 onwards. Thereafter, from 2018, 2019, that downturn further intensified. But to my mind, at least, there were limits to how far that downturn would go. And at some stage, the relationship was going to bottom out. In other words, an upward trend would begin. We are at that phase now. And the reasons for that, of course, are many. People point to various transactional reasons, such as a cryptocurrency agreement, or the presence of hydrocarbons in Pakistan, or the role which Pakistan may play vis-a-vis US military operations in Iran. But to my mind, the real reason is that Pakistan is the fifth largest country in the world. It has 250 million people. It has nuclear weapons. It is situated in a geopolitically sensitive part of the world as far as the United States is concerned. So at some stage, the US was going to engage with Pakistan again. Think that that downturn would have continued in the way it was forever was being unrealistic. So I think now there is a definite upturn in US-Pakistan relations. To some extent, it may be related to policies of the Trump administration, but I think there are more fundamental reasons for that. And it is something which we have to take in our stride and deal with. And it's not something which we should be too surprised about.
We leave with that. Thank you very much, Ambassador TCA Raghavan, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Thank you for helping us, for broadening our perspective on this situation.